Good morning. Happy New Year. This is the first mastermind session of 2020. Give yourselves a round of applause for showing up. Good stuff. So this one, I like to start the year with a little bit of DISC training. DISC is it's a way of understanding other people, right? It's a way of converting leads faster, getting the transactions done quicker. If you're looking to raise money, this is how you get your money faster. If you're looking to find deals, this is how you make sure that your deals are closing. We were just talking about conversion earlier in the mastermind today. So this is how we convert deals, close deals, collect money. It's really the understanding of people. It's how we build relationships, find partners. DISC is highly valuable in real estate investing because real estate investing is all about relationships. Before we get started, let me talk a little bit about Get the Money. I've got this Thursday, it's going to be the 9th, Thursday the 9th at Boston Dedham. I'm teaching Get the Money again. I only teach this class once a year, and fortunately I'm teaching at the beginning of the year. I taught it kind of middle of the year last year. Get the Money is how to get the capital, whether it's private capital, how to find your first down payment, how to get the money from hard money from commercial lenders, from residential lenders, how to get into institutional lending, syndication, REITs. This is the conversation of how to get all the money for any deal that you're looking to do. At every level, there's a different devil. At every level, there's a different type of lending you're going to have to learn. If you're buying a single family home, it's a very different type of lending if you're buying your first 3-family as opposed to if you're buying a 10 unit or if you're buying 150 units. The lending process is different. Getting the Money is a simple course, but it's the course if you've never taken it before. Anybody here taken it before? Who's saying Get the Money? Only four in the room? 5? You didn't take it. Yeah, all right. So Get the Money, we pulled everything out of the way. We also gave you these awesome bracelets. So if you have one of these bracelets, you know that you're an alchemist because you've taken the course. When you're out at networking events and you see somebody rocking one of these bracelets, especially in the local area, you know that that person understands how to get the money, which means getting the deal is their top priority because their money is not an issue for them. They know how to raise capital. They know how to line up a deal. These are the people you want to play with, right? You see one of my students in the room who's wearing one of these wristbands, you know that that person starts here at this level. They're not asking all the basic questions. They know what you're looking to do. They're looking to move you forward. Does that make sense? Something to look forward to, right? When you're at networking events, you look for those guys and find the people who have what is it? I am an alchemist bracelet, right? That's a dead giveaway. This person knows what they're doing. That said, Get the Money is, I run the Boston RIA in Dedham, Mass. Every single month. It is usually the first Thursday of the month. The person who was running it has retired, and now I'm running it. They asked me, actually I got the email last week, this week, and they asked me to start running it. Ironically, the same week, the month that I am actually teaching my course, I'll be hosting and teaching. So it should be a very interesting, I'm going to need a lot of water, I'm going to need a lot of support up there, but it's going to be an interesting one. So we'll probably start a little earlier than the speakers normally come on. That said, hopefully I'll see you guys there. Every single month I'm going to work very hard to build up the Boston RIA. Boston is a phenomenal market. They are full of people who are looking to invest down here in the South Coast, so a ton of private money. If you're real estate, there's a ton of deals, buyers looking to come down. If you're looking to eventually get into the Boston market, there's a lot of people who invest in Boston. So there's a lot of knowledge up there. Very different from the Rhode Island RIA, which is the third Thursday of the month. I'm also consistently at the Rhode Island RIA, along with some of my friends like Mike, Zach. Do you go there?
I haven't been in a while.
You gotta start going. So the Rhode Island RIA is another phenomenal real estate investor association that there's a ton of information. You'll find in that RIA it's a little different, where there is money in the room, but you find a lot more of beginning level investors who are making moves and pushing, but there's always people who are doing very well in any one of these rooms. There's a lot of information. I find that the Rhode Island RIA has more professionals in it. You'll have attorneys, you'll have insurance agents, property managers, whereas in the Boston RIA, it's more consumers. It's more investors themselves just looking to invest. So there's a lot of different value out of them. We're moving ours, the South Coast RIA, is shifting to the 4th Thursday of the month because New Bedford has theirs on the 2nd Thursday of the month. So instead of conflicting, I just didn't know. That's why we ran it that way for so long. I didn't know they were running on the 2nd Thursday. Now that I've identified it, we're shifting to the 4th Thursday of the month so that we can hit the New Bedford one and hit the Fallbrook one at the same time. In the fourth Thursday of the month, the South Coast RIA, that's another RIA that I run. Ron and I started that 3 years ago. That one's 100%, it's me speaking towards something that's valuable to the group. We're gonna hit on, and every third, we do a landlord one. We do a landlord association, so you're getting 100%, if you're interested in being a landlord, but it's just facts for landlords, especially South Coast. If you're investing down here, we're giving a lot of information. At one point, we brought the mayor in, we brought the mayor of Fall River in, we brought in a 1031 exchange attorney in, because landlords have these issues, right? To this day, the mayor was probably my best guest. That was definitely the most fun that we've had. And I'm looking to bring in minimum housing, community development. These are key components, key players to bring in. If I can't get them there, I'll sit down with them, interview them, and then give that back to you guys in that format. The Thursday commitment as an investor has been huge for me. Committing my Thursdays, every single Thursday, saying what group am I going to go to, has been a huge turnaround in my business. Being at and then we have Tuesdays. First Tuesday of the month and third Tuesday of the month is Black Diamond. Black Diamond's either in Worcester or it's in Burlington. Don't ask me which one is which, but if you send it in the group, I'll figure it out and I'll find out for you guys. The other one is Newton. So the RIAs, there's about 7 every single month that are consistent. If you can hit every single one of them, yes, it's a drive sometimes. Yes, it's a time commitment every time. But the people in the room are different, especially when you're hitting the Boston ones, the Rhode Island ones, and the South Coast. They're all for different reasons. Then there's Middleborough. Middleborough is run by Bill Roberts. I can't think of what day it is. Does he shift it?
Look, I haven't gone.
It's a good one though. He runs a really good one. I'll find out the information. I'll text Bill. He usually comes Saturdays. So the reason I'm giving this is it's the beginning of the year. You guys need to be building your network better. You must get out there and meet the right people. This is going to help you networking with them, but you've got to get the right people in your network so that you can start taking over your business, start crushing your goals, start pushing and taking on the right activities. We talked about earlier how do you scale this? Should I be doing a whole bunch of different businesses or should I just stick to one business? Well, if you're looking to do a bunch of different businesses, get the right players in the room. And if you're looking to do one business very well, get the right players in the room, right? What we discovered, instead of running a property management company, I'd rather know all the property managers, just outsource, pay them, right? Let them grind it out instead of me taking all the money in, I just let them grind it out. Same with realtors. I used to be so focused on just giving leads to my team. Now I pass out to other agents. If my team isn't capable of doing the area as well, I'll pass out to agents outside of the brokerage. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. It's just who's going to do this better and faster, and maybe training somebody is going to take me longer because it's only a one-off. So understanding those elements in your business is key. Getting the right people, like sometimes you don't even know that there's a 1031 exchange attorney. All right, anybody know what that is?
Nope.
1031 exchange, well, thanks, Mike. You know, right? A 1031 exchange is you take a piece of property, you sell it, you pay no taxes, and you buy another piece of property. So instead of paying capital gains, you've deferred your capital gains into the next piece of property. So hugely valuable. It's super, super valuable as you're getting into larger dollar amounts, right? The condos we're selling, every time we sell one of those, we get a capital gain of around $10,000 that we have to pay the government. That $10,000 buys us $40,000 more in real estate because real estate's leveraged. Does that make sense? Because it's 20% down, right? 25% down. So that gives us 4 to 5 times the leverage. So it makes more sense as you're stacking those up, and we sell 10 of those, that's $100,000. It could have been an extra $400,000 of property that we could have bought if we didn't have to pay Sam at the moment, right? I'm cool with paying him later, you know, under different tax brackets, under different terms, but to pay him right now, it just doesn't make sense. Sometimes, right? There are times where it doesn't make sense to sell a property, take the money, and pay the tax. But once you've established your income and you've got your money handled well, you really start looking at, I don't even want to take it out, I want to keep it playing. Right? Just keep it running, keep it in game, keep it in play. That said, this year is going to start a new year for all of us. 2020 is an opportunity for you to take your life and hit your goals in a faster manner. In the past, maybe you said, I'm going to retire at 50, 60, 70, whatever it may be. It's time to crank it back and think relative to today. right? Say from today forward, I'll be retired in 3 years. Get aggressive about it. Retired, making the money you're making now passively in 3 years. Can we all make that commitment? Okay. It is an option. You don't have to stop, but have the machine running for you. I don't care how many hours you're working, it's possible. I don't care where you're located, what you're doing for a career, it's possible. You've just got to make the commitment that 3 years from now, you're making what you make today through passive means. That make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Beyond that, we were talking about wholesaling. So before I get into this, I'll talk just a little bit of why wholesaling is important, where it sits in the process. Let's see. Everybody's familiar with wholesaling here? Okay. So then I'm just explaining it for people at home. How I know what that is. Alright. Wholesaling is the beginning of the funnel. If you want to own a bunch of real estate and retire, you have to buy and hold property. And the next stage after that is hold paper, or paper assets. And then paper assets equal 12% return on your capital. You can get more, you can get less. Any financial advisor is going to tell you 3% is a good return, 5% is a good return, but we know you can definitely do better in paper assets. I have some right now that pay me about 27% return on investment dividend yield, because like Mike Shine was talking to me 2 weeks ago, I was like, oh shit, margin. And I went and I threw some stuff on margin. ORC on margin is ridiculous.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a 16% dividend yield. And then you take the 5% of the margin is costing me. You just add another, so it's another 11 on top of the 16. So it's 27% return on investment. It's a REIT. Yep. It's a mortgage-backed REIT. Yep. Orchid Capital. I am not giving financial advice, by the way. This is just between a buddy and me. All right. So anyway, you've got your 4 levels of income. Paper assets are true retirement, right? With a paper asset, there's nothing you have to do. It's operating because somebody else is either doing one of these models, right? These are more active income. The buy and hold can be relatively passive, even at, we're about to have 50 units from, plus my 7, so it'll be 57 combined. At 57 units, he and I meet up and we handle emails probably about an hour a week. Maybe we'll call it the 4-hour work week, right? So maybe for 4 hours, the amount of time he and I spend on our portfolio maybe adds up 4 hours. But with our paper assets, it's literally nothing. I could open up Robinhood and look at it and then I'd be done, right? Or if there was a loan that was out with another lender, I'm gonna get that check once a month and there's nothing I have to do about it, right? So if I have, paper on the street, so say we sell or finance one of our buildings, that money is coming into us no matter what. Yep. There's no maintenance behind it. Does that make sense? The only time there is, if somebody doesn't pay, then I send to my foreclosure attorney and probably Mike Shine. Mike, you do that? Foreclosure?
Stick with you.
All right, I'll send it to, all right, okay, all right. We'll stick to he's already got a bad rep for doing it, so. So it's very, very little work down here, but the return on investment is very low, right? Agency, the return on investment is very high because it costs you nothing. Wholesaling costs you nothing. The only thing you ever spend money on is your list, and then if you're doing mailers, very expensive, right? So it can cost, but as an agent or a wholesaler, you can operate this business 100% without spending any money, other than getting your license, right? Like that's in buying your list. But I will say that you don't actually have to buy a list in order to wholesale. You don't have to actually buy a list in order to be an agent. These are just simpler tools, right? So when you're making your $4,000 or $5,000, $5,000 to $10,000 per transaction, because agency can pull the same as wholesaling. It absolutely can. And wholesaling pulls about the same as agency because agents can close more deals than a wholesaler can. There's more opportunities on the agency to take a deal than there is on the wholesale side. So for the amount of transactions you're running, you're better off having both. Eventually, a wholesaler should get their real estate license and work down the pathway. The goal has to be paper assets, right? Mike was talking about it today. Well, eventually he doesn't love landlording, doesn't love owning property. Me neither. Good at it. Love helping people. But trust me, I think about the day where I want to be on the beach and never have a call ever again. And that's why we work the way we work. I'm like already trying to remove the last 4 hours I work, right? So it's just understand that as you go through this, you may be cool at putting in 60, 70 hours. And I painted an apartment yesterday, so I love those work. I still love work, and you won't get rid of that. But in the beginning, yeah, agents were putting 60 to 80 hours in. Wholesaling 60 to 80 hours in. Like if you're killing it, right, you're putting a ton of hours, or somebody in your team is. And then you move down to the flips and rehabs. These are opportunities for you to make a ton of money. As you're changing from agency to wholesaling, flipping and rehabbing, working with people becomes more important. It's less relationships, but relationships have to be more clutch, more key, right? And then, because agency, you gotta deal with a whole bunch of people all at once, right? You gotta get on 100 appointments a month, or, well, that's what you should be getting on. A lot of agents get on maybe 2 or 3 appointments a month. Wholesalers, maybe 2 or 3 appointments a month. But if you're hitting 2 or 3 appointments a day as a wholesaler, you know your income's going up. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So if you're really hitting your goals of hitting 2 or 3 appointments every single day as a wholesaler, you're going to financially see that return on investment way faster. So it's a lot of hours. It's a lot of work to get to making $100,000 a wholesale this year, right? Everybody agrees? Mm-hmm. As an agent, I know you got to close probably around 20 deals to hit that number. And I've done that, and I don't like it. Like, I'll be very honest. The reason I got out of agency is because I had to do it again next year. So we had just adjusted. I was always aiming for holds. This is where I started. But as I capped down on how many holds I could buy, I just backed up to flips. Right? Turned some of my holds into flips. It's a pyramiding strategy where you take something you own and you sell it for something more. Right? You need disc more here in a quick, dirty maneuver manner. Right? It's got to be quick, dirty, like be able to read people, understand people really fast. Whereas in your flips and your rehabs, you have to go a little deeper with disc because the relationships with the contractors, your property managers, with your closing attorneys, your lenders, your private capital guys become far more important. So being able to relate to people is much more important here. It's important at every level, but the depth of the relationship gets more important as your income goes up. When it comes to the buy and hold, I think that understanding disc is the only reason we still get rents in a lot of our units. Because I'll have a conversation with a tenant and it's like, oh, they're an S, no wonder, right? They just want to know that I care about them. That's all this is. Or they're an I, they literally just want to be heard. They just need to know that they've made a dent in my universe somewhere. Or they're a D, they want me to know that they're important, right? And once I acknowledge that, I never have to deal with them again, right? They're gonna pay rent, they're gonna be happy. Understanding disc has gotten us more rents than just sending out a foreclosure note, a vacancy notice, right? 14-day notice to quit. Between these two, disc is very, very important. When you get to paper assets, it's no longer a very big deal. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. Actually, I'd say flips and rehabs probably are more important than buy and hold. It definitely has to become a deeper relationship with your property manager, but it's less and less people as you're going, right? Depending on the way you're building your business out. But here at the beginning, where most people start, this is paramount. And it becomes team building here, and it becomes that single couple relationships here, and at the very end, the paper assets, it's your relationship with your broker, right? It becomes more your relationship with money, with yourself, like doing your own piece. So getting to here is the goal, right? Like that's what we want to be.
So much fun.
Yeah, it's so much fun figuring yourself out and spending more time with you. So I want to talk first about finding property. Get the Deal is coming up. Get the Deal is January 24th to 25th. It is 2 full days. We're going to do it here. It's $200, $100 a day. I'll be talking for about 10 hours each day. It's about $10 an hour is what I'll be pumping out for you guys. That doesn't mean the quality is $10 an hour. It's going to be super detailed on how to find the deals, how to build the lists, how to market on all platforms, social media, on emailing, on calls, on going out on appointments. That'll be day 2. Day 2's appointments themselves, negotiations, closing the deal, making sure that people understand what you're doing. Day 2 is more in the disc side of things, so I'll go deep into it. So Mike, when I said I wasn't going to, I forgot about Get the Deal. So yes, we won't really do it deep like that all in one day in Mastermind, but we'll definitely do it on Get the Deal, Day 2. So I would strongly suggest being there, because once I've trained it, I'm not training this again for the rest of the year. I'm moving on to other trainings, other things that I want to accomplish. So if you're having the desire to buy more property, whether it's as a landlord, whether it's as a flip, or whether it's wholesaling or agency, understanding how to get the deal itself is clutch. It's key. Get the money was based on getting a deal, right? Like getting the money for anything is based on getting a deal. I don't care what you're doing. If you say you want $1 million, I'm telling you no, right? Unless you're buying a $10 million deal for $1 million, then I will find you that money. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Because it's all about the deal. Being able to evaluate it. We're going to talk about evaluating deals as wholesalers, as agents, understanding, should I present this to my investor? Right? Is this something that's going to be desirable for the investor? Is there enough meat in the bone? How do I have to pitch this? Because sometimes how you pitch something creates an awareness. You could have an amazing deal, but if you pitch it wrong, people aren't going to understand it. So how you pitch the deal is another element that's very, very important. So we're going to talk about that, Get the Deal. Before I talk any more about Get the Deal, are you guys interested?
Yeah.
Excellent. So sign up ASAP. Sign up today. Ask Ron about it. It's GualterMorello /intense, GualterMorello.com/intensive. Literally, it's $200 to learn how to get all the deals, to build a system so all the deals keep flowing through to you instead of you hunting and chasing them, becoming a magnet for leads. And being a magnet is way better than hunting and chasing. Not as much fun, but then the purchase is the fun part, right? Let the purchase be the fun part, not the hunting and the marketing. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Very good. So that said, when you get, we'll go all the way to the beginning, because we're not going to be on an appointment yet. When you start marketing to the different disc is key. Understand attention span, right? So write this down. The shortest attention span is always going to be the D. These are decisive people, decisive in nature. They don't have a ton of time because these are the players. You'll notice a D because these guys are usually wearing black. They're usually in suits, power, everything. Everything about them says power, right? They're fast, they're decisive. They'll talk about their business before they talk about their family. You could be all in their house all day, never know they have family until the very end, right? Because they're talking about their business, what's important to them. You'll notice they tend to own multiple properties. These tend to have a lot of property. These tend to have businesses of their own. It's part of who they are. So time frame, quick. These guys are fast. Eyes, still pretty quick. They're extroverted people. They're out there doing things. They want to experience. They are the adventurers. Their clothing is more fun, right? They don't like to have a lot of things on them. Pockets are not for eyes, right? If eyes rather be free, they rather move quickly. Pockets can slow them down, right? Having to carry things can slow them down. They rather just move fast, right? An I's luggage versus a C's luggage is ridiculously different. So C's are very cautious. They're gonna have everything in that luggage, everything in that bag, like carrying 2 luggages. Whereas I's are the people who jump on a plane with nothing. Just jump on a plane, jump off the plane. They'll figure it out later. I's are fun people. They're high fives. They're ambitious. They're very fast as well, but not as fast as a D. They slow down just a little bit, just enough to hear their own voice, and because they do like the sound of their own voice. These are influencers. I stands for influencer. You'll hear them use the word I a lot. I. Like, they did this, they did that, they did this. Good sign that you're talking to an I or a D uses the word I a lot. S's are slow. These guys are so slow, right? They're like tone it down a little bit. Maybe when you talk to them, their speed slower, because that's what they need. fact, me and Ray right now are like, yeah, that's about right, isn't it? We should talk like this always. I don't know why you talk so fast. Sorry, brother. So S's are a little slower. They come from a place of stability, of making sure family's okay, making sure everybody around them is okay, right? When you're talking to an S, it's very important to recognize that they're not just there for themselves, they're there for everybody. Even in the room, they're gonna ask you, do you wanna eat, do you want something to drink, do you wanna take a seat? Like, they're very caring, like, concerned people, right? S's make up about 33% of the planet. So the world is a caring world. Don't tell me otherwise, right? And I's make up another 34% of the planet. So very people-focused planet we live in. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. You're gonna see a lot of your appointments are on this side of the spectrum. C's, by the way, S's like to hug. They're huggers, so very seriously. Well, for an I, they're like, yeah, you can hug me like this. Like tap in, tap out. If you hug an I for too long, they're gonna think there's a romantic relationship there. They're like, whoa, really into me right now. Whereas with an S, it means like you see them where they are, the heartbeat kind of, gets in line. It's like, okay, a little less there, huh, Sherry's? Yeah. Right behind you is too. So good people. Actually, this is like an S line right here. All right, right back to Ron. So C's, on the other hand, C's are the slowest of them all. C's want information. They want how. They want to know how things work, how things operate, how it's going to go down, when it's going to go down, why it's happening this way, who's going to be doing it. They want to know literally every step of the way how things are working. And then they want you to disappear and give them a whole bunch of information so that they can read how everything's going to go out. Right? Any real estate agents in the room? So you ever do a CMA before?
Yeah.
Comparative market analysis? That's for the C's. They're the only ones who actually look at it. The D, you'll notice, jumps right to the balance sheet right at the end. They're like, okay, how much do you want to sell it for? Or like, what are the ranges here? The D just goes to the bullet points at the end. The I's looking at the pretty colors in the report. Oh, you got a pie chart. Oh, they're not even looking at the pie chart, what it means. It's like colors on the pie chart. This is cool. If you throw one in there, they're like, that's the only page you're going to look at. They'll also look at the pretty pictures of the other people's houses. S's are going to look at all the pictures of all the houses and see who they know in the neighborhood. See if they've driven by that house before, right? Like, S's love the comps, right? Not for the price, just to see who they know and who's doing what, right? C's are there for all the information at the back of the CMA, all the stats, all the details, all the numbers. They'll look at the pictures of the other houses and compare them to the other houses and figure out why they were priced this way. C's spend a lot of time in research. So understand when you're in their appointments or when you're marketing to them, it must be done differently. C's, by the way, don't handshake, they don't fist bump, they don't high five. If they're going to acknowledge you, it's this. If there's like a thing that must be done, in fact, their hands don't even do this. Their hands stay down here. If they're going to say something to you, it's... Right, Ryan? Steve, bro. It's very, very like hands off, very, not involved. Whereas a D is a powerful handshake. Right? It's a powerful handshake. It may be a nod, but it's a nod of respect. It's a longer, like they see you, they respect you nod, right? Whereas the D is just C is more of a, like I see you. Why are you still looking at me? Like I get it. We're good. The I is a high five. The I's are just like fun. Like their introduction is, it could be a quick tap, a hug, it could be a high five, it could be a fist bump. They're more interactive in that manner. Again, S of the hugs. So marketing to the different discs, you can imagine, is probably different, right? Especially with a time frame that goes in this direction, right? With these guys having no patience, these guys having all the patience, wanting all the information. If you build your marketing website, right? Where's a website for marketing? Yeah? All right, so at some point you're going to want an online funnel because that is a source for you to send people to build more relationship with you, but it's not a top priority. It's probably the last thing that you do in the entire process. How many leads do you actually get through your online funnel?
One, maybe every 2 months.
It's just there as, it's good for Facebook marketing, but for what we're doing, Facebook marketing is useless because our demographic's not on there. The Facebook demographic is a female, 34 years old, in a committed relationship. Well, actually, no, not committed relationship. She's just a 34-year-old female. That's the typical person on Facebook. So for you as an investor, they don't have what we want. They are the children of the people who have what we want, and the grandchildren of the people who have what we want. So there's a different way of hitting that demographic. So if you've done Facebook ads, you've probably done them the wrong way when trying to find a seller, a desperate seller. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Think of who your audience is, and does that audience actually make sense to hit them there? It does, but you've got a different audience,
Yeah.
right? And you just gotta have a conversation of, are your grandparents having trouble, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do your parents want to sell? Do they want to retire? It's your job to help them. So, instead of the website, although the website's the easiest one to go through.
Sure.
Website, you start at the top with what do you do? Because, and you might want to write this down, D's think what, I's think who, S thinks why, C thinks how.
Say that again?
D is what, I is who, S is why, C is how. And these are the operative modes. This is where they're operating out of. So in the website, you want to say what you do real quick, right? Up the top, bullet points, we buy your house cheap. We've seen the bulletin boards, right? We know that works. We buy ugly houses. Perfect, that's for the D's. The I's are, they want to know, is it going to be fun working with you? They want a little bit more on who you are and how the process works in a fun manner. They want to know, is this going to be an adventure? Is this going to, what is it about your company that is fun, right? Fun process, quick results. Well, quick results would be deep, but fun process, running through, getting you out, moving you to a vacation, like these kind of ideas of more money in your pocket, so you can have more fun with it and do the things that you love. These are conversations for the I, right? Who is going to be operating is the I, right? They, at all points, they're thinking about themselves, how they're going to be having fun and doing things. So that's the attention span. This is where you put a video. This is where you put anything kind of colorful, entertaining. The D's are, they want quick facts. They don't have time for video. They just want bullet points. The I's will watch the video because it's fun. It's just entertaining for them, so make it entertaining. Make it enjoyable. The S's are going to want to know more about you as a company. They want to know, how do you affect their community? How are you concerned about the family that they have? Do you have family? Pictures with kids and puppies is a great time here. If your target demographic is older, pictures of older retired people happy, smiling, together, doing something they enjoy, maybe on vacation, right? You want to reach out to the S now because they're the why we do things, right? The C is all the information at the bottom. It'll be your how long a transaction takes, why it takes so long, what the process is, the home inspection, all the different elements to the transaction itself is at the bottom. Because the D's have not gotten down there, the I's stopped at the video, the S's are done with, oh, they care about me, cool. The C's are like, I'll keep going. And if that website keeps going, they'll keep going. They're the only ones who read the bottom of the website with the information where, like, contact us here, like, they're the only ones who get down that low, right? The disclosures, that's for the C's. All that stuff at the bottom of the website, they're the only ones who ever get there, right? The D is gone. Like, they made the decision, they either sent you an email or not. So at every level, you want a button for each one of these people, right? If you're doing ClickFunnels, you want a button for the D, right? Bullet points, button. Video, button. About us, button. And then information, button, right? So they can take action, move things. You're going to do the same thing in your postcards, in your letters, when you write an email, when you're making a phone call. Hey, I buy houses. It's a lot of fun, really fun process. It's all about you, making sure that you're happy. We care about family and moving you along in the right direction. And if you have any questions, what are they? I'll answer any questions you have.
Oh, that's bad.
Right? Because C, you don't know what questions they're going to have. Ask them what questions they have. You want to close a C? Because these for me were the hardest when I started the business. because see, I'm a ID, right? I'm out there like just high aggressive, take action, move, and I'm sitting in appointments with these people who are just like asking me questions. Like, shit, I don't know. I never paid attention to that part. This is very abstract to me. So like they would hit me with questions, and then I would seem dumb and like irresponsible, like not trustworthy to a C because I didn't have all the facts. So I got tired of that. So what I started doing was saying, what other questions do you have? I'm going to find out. You know what? That's not a common question. Let me find out. Not a common question. Let me find out. We very rarely run into this question. Let me find out. And then I realized they like the CMA. Once I realized they like the CMA, and that by leaving the CMA with them and following up, I was closing them more often. They just want the information. They just give them a packet full of information, and they're so satisfied. You give that to the D and the I, they're like, I don't know why you're here. That's me. I like the I was like, I like the pretty colors, but that's about it. Done. And the D says, no way I'm looking at this. You've got to be kidding me. Like, where's the bullet points, right? Show me the top page. These one pager all day, right? So in your marketing campaigns, you've got to be thinking this way, right? What picture are you putting out there on the mailer? And if you're doing a postcard, you usually get a picture on it, right? What picture is going to attract the eyes? You have any guesses?
Orange.
Well, I don't know about orange, but
You mean a color or picture?
picture. A picture.
A
Something
post-crowning or something.
fun. Orange is a fun
Adventurous
color.
guy.
It needs to be an adventure picture, right? The S.
Family.
Yep. Picture of the family around doing something together. Campfire. Very good. Yep. C. It's a postcard with all information. It's just there's no picture on a C's postcard. It's just stats, just numbers, words, and tiny print. The smaller the print, the more information you get on that page, the happier the C's are going to be. The D's, if you put a picture on there, make it be like a $sign or something, right? like D's just want to know that money's coming their way. $, bullet points, I'll call you, right? Don't get crazy on the D's, get insane on the C's, and get very emotional on the I's and the S's, right? If your marketing campaign is the same postcard all the time, it's not hitting a few of these guys, right? Change your marketing campaign because you haven't met them yet, you don't know how to hit them. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So find the one that's hitting, and you may find that in clusters, certain people did move together. Right, certain communities may have a higher percentage of certain things. You'll learn that over time. I found that it's about 70% on this side and maybe 25% on this side. 75 here, 25 here, and you can see that in society. Typically, there aren't a lot of business owners. Not a lot of people out there pushing hard, and there's not a lot of really deep, knowledgeable, researchy people. There's a lot more people having fun and spending time with their family. The message across the country is have fun and spend time with family, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what's cool. You look on social media, that's what everybody's putting out there. Mm-hmm. Right? If I go and I put a success post, I get my crew loves it. And if I put information out there, my crew loves it. But the rest of the world's like, I don't understand that guy. Can't stand those posts. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. So your marketing has to be in tune with who you're looking to approach. How a C manages their building is very different from how a D manages their building. Right? They're both task-oriented. The building serves a purpose, but how the C lives in that building and how the D lives in that building are very different. D's running a business, C's running a hobby. So the house will be very different. You'll find in a C's house, they have like train sets. They have weird hobbies. If you get in there and you see, C's are the most fun for me. I walk in and I'm like, okay. So C, when you meet them out, like there's just something weird about them. You don't know what it is, but you know that they're not one of these, right? They have the idiosyncrasies of somebody who has their own rules, their own laws. But when you get into their house, you understand them 100%. C's are the old cat ladies, right? C's and S's. But typically, the C's, and they have, it's like if somebody can have a hobby, a C has made the whole house that hobby. like as a real estate, you've been in these, right? Where you're like, oh man, like this house is way too unique. You went too far in this nautical theme, right? Or I don't know if everybody likes sewing as much as you like sewing, because it's everywhere. Or Marilyn Monroe. There was a house I did, and there was like Marilyn Monroe through the whole house. I was like, yeah, we did it. Like this is a C, right? I understand what's going on. They said I want Marilyn Monroe everywhere, or Betty Boop, or like I've seen some very unique houses, right? And that's a C. Boom, awesome. I'll send the packet. You're good. Like don't even no conversation necessary. Packets in the mail.
Right.
With and with the D's, like it's generally their homes are very organized. You get in there and you feel like like it's a cold house, right? Like it's minimalist, not a lot of action going on. It's like, do people actually live here? Their kitchen table looks like it's never been sat at, because D's don't eat at the kitchen table, they eat over the sink, right? Because it's faster. They microwave and then they're gone and they're out. Or they don't even eat home, they're eating out on the road, right? They're eating with clients, they're doing business deals, they're eating at work, right? So like you'll see their homes are completely different from, say, an I who is home just as like a recovery space, and it's more of a fun space for them to entertain, right? D is a recovery, like D's literally just do it because they have to. They only have a home because they gotta sleep and eat at some point. Whereas I's are there to entertain. You'll see the alcohol is out somewhere on display. Maybe they have a bar in the house. Although D's could do that, typically it's the I side pulling the let's entertain people in. Does that make sense? These are cues. As you're going through a property, cues to take in. Like, all right. Now remember, a lot of houses have 2 people living in them. So it's tough to tell which one you're talking to until you figure it out. And that's where like blends come in. And a couple, so you can have an I, so you're an I and an S, right? Your wife is an S.
Yeah.
But the blend together is a super functional family, right? It truly has become a super functional family, and business is now important. So they're producing, like as a couple, they almost got this D element to them that wouldn't be there individually, right? But together, because they run a unit, a family, they have to be decisive. They have to get to this side of things, right? But by themselves, they probably wouldn't operate in that manner. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Right? Like by myself, that'd be fun.
That's awesome.
So it's this dynamic that comes out in couples. So you could be running this disc, and you get to the house, and you're like, this person doesn't seem like that. But the house is saying that they're one of these other elements. It's because the couple dynamic is pulling them towards something. So it's just something to be aware of. If you can have them one-on-one, they are a certain way. But when they're together, it changes. Real estate probably see this. Didn't understand why it was happening, but then you get to the table and you're like, hold on, they're side by side and things are changing. What is going on here? So as a real estate agent, one of the rules I set early on, or was told early on, is always get both people at the table. All communication with both people. All decision makers at the table. Because if you don't, things fall apart. All right, get both decision makers at the table at all times. Wholesaling is the same thing. You're talking to somebody who owns a house, ask who else owns the house with you. Especially in a probate situation, because those are the best deals. Probate's typically where we're taking the money. Probate or like death in the family or divorce, typically of all of them, probate's the best. Question?
No, I just, no.
Okay.
Great.
Divorce is a little trickier because getting them together at the same time is a pain in the butt. And with probate, usually there's a trustee who everybody's fine with and it's whatever and it goes through. But with the divorce side of things, that can be a little harder to get that transaction going. Those are the best deals, death and divorce. So it's just a part of, you've got to get better at handling those and making sure people are getting together. Carlos, Mario, what's up, guys? All right, so when it comes to marketing and attacking all of these, you can do 2 options. One, you can make your marketing campaign fit all 4, like a website. You can just design the website the right way. With social media, you can design your social media the right way. The pictures you put up, whether they're D's put up power pictures. It's them with other people who are influential. right? If you go on my Facebook page, you'll see it's pictures with people, and if you look at them, they're picked for a reason. I got Gary Vee, Tom Ferry, I'm dying to get a Grant Cardone up there, and then it's people within the city. I used to carry the mayor up there, and I pulled him off because that actually wasn't helping me, it was hurting me. Still love you, Jay, but but we gotta be a little more careful. I got police up there, firefighters, because I'm hitting the S a little bit with those elements, but I'm staying true to, I'm a D, right? At the end of the day, I want to say, I know people. And I's on their website, you'll see more adventure pictures, right? Pictures of traveling, fun, family, friends. S's are definitely a picture of either their kids or their dog or their cat. C's are no picture whatsoever, right? So as you're building your profile and you're curating your profile, make sure that you're doing it in a manner that attracts the people you're looking to attract. This is likely the people you're buying houses from. These are the easiest transaction you'll ever do, and these are the longer transactions. But this is the majority. So I look at it this way, but I also look at these as I know nobody else can close them, right? So when I get into a transaction with a C, I know the process. Most people can't close a C. That's why C's have the worst kept houses. Because they'll be that person who's stuck in there, and they're hoarders too. C's have their own set of rules. Here's the other problem with C's. Now I love C's. Business partner is a high C, right? Rated high C. You are super high. You're 100%.
Yeah, you also just said I have a messy house.
No. Your house is not. Okay. Ron's house is extremely clean because his system is such that of efficiency. He's a C who's bent on success and efficiency and doing things the best way possible. And he's also a high S, so it's family oriented. How do I move my family forward in the most efficient way? Not all C's are like that. So here's the deal. C's believe they're right no matter what. C's believe no matter what that they are correct in all things. So sometimes a C can believe that they're right and never be disproved because they just went in that direction, kept going in that direction, and that's where the hobbies get exploded out of control, and they tend to let their properties, the really high C's tend to let their properties degrade to a level that like the roof will be leaking and they'll be like, yeah, I know it's a problem, but it's not something I fix. And I don't trust people because they're C's, cautious, and so it never gets fixed. So C's are the only ones you'll see the houses get so bad and still not sell. Like the house will be literally killing them. They'll tell you they want out, but they won't sell. It's because they're too cautious. They don't know what the other side of things is going to look like. In moving them, most agents and wholesalers are operating on this side of the spectrum, especially salespeople. They're here or here, typically I's. Salespeople have a hard time moving C's because they're on the opposite side. So if you can figure those out, you can be very successful. You guys want to know how to do those? Yeah? Mm-hmm. All right. So C's, super simple. Ask them, this is the power question. What else would you like to know? What other concerns do you have? What else would you like to know? What other concerns do you have? You ask that question to a C. Deliver answers over and over and over. And then ask them again at the end, what other questions do you have? What else would you like to know? And keep delivering. Keep delivering, keep delivering, keep delivering. You will close this C because nobody else is giving them the information. That makes sense? C's are very loyal because they don't trust a lot of people. So once you do gain their trust as the informative person, the C will close with you. But you've got to spend months building that relationship. It takes time. C's don't just make decisions quickly. C's, for whatever reason, seem to date I's. I don't understand why they do it. So if they're in a relationship with an I, that's probably the easier way to close. Get the I to override the C.
My husband is the same, like absolutely.
Yeah. So it's one of those elements, like if I meet a C, I'm like, where's your family members at? You got a kid? So you try to aim for the easier to leverage side of them because that's the one other person they trust that builds rapport, builds relationships a little faster. But C's, like, if you can close them, they're loyal. They'll send you business because it becomes a part, like you just let them know that, hey, to thank me, you send me business. Like, they don't have a lot of friends, but the friends they do have, they're going to go to you, right? If you can infiltrate engineers right? Engineering, or a lot of doctors can be C's, attorneys can be C's, although Mike is the anomaly. Doctors, attorneys, engineers, anything that requires a lot of education, right? What is it? Engineers, for sure. They are a loyal bunch. They are, because they don't have a big connection of people. So if you can get one engineer all the information they need, you've got that connection, right? That network. So it's a matter of just being genuine to the question how, right? Being like letting them know that you want them to understand the whole process. You don't care how long it takes. You're willing to be patient and give them all the hows. See to fall in love with you. Right? And you know the houses, right? When I was talking about like describing the house, you can think of that house. You've been in those before. Yeah. Before I understood DISC, it was I couldn't figure out why things were happening this way. I was like, I don't get it. This is really bad. Like, do you not notice how bad this is? Well, you got to go. And they wouldn't, and they wouldn't, and they wouldn't, until I started saying, well, what else would you like to know? And now it's a lot easier. Believe it or not, C is the easiest because it's just a game. Like, how many questions can I answer for them today? Like, how many problems can I solve? Like, what are they looking to know? And once you make it a game, that's the I in me, right? Once you make it a game, it's easy to win, right? So marketing to the C's, just a ton of information. They are the only person, once you identify that they are a C, if they're asking how questions, send them the packet. That's the only person I'll say, send them a packet full of information, right? Because they actually don't want you showing up. They'd rather just get the information by themselves and handle it on their own. What's up, TJ? So, marketing to a D, text is awesome, right? D's are not a huge fan of picking up the phone and hearing something that they're not on point with at that moment. Text, they'll deal with. Email, they'll deal with. But if you want a quick conversation with a D, they'll book the appointment also, like that. So if you're booking appointments within 30 seconds, you're on the phone with a D. Like they're on the phone with somebody who's already made the decision and is ready to go. When you're on the phone, the first thing you say has to cater to that D personality. I'm looking to buy your house. Like that, and if they say, oh yeah, how much? You might have a D on the phone, right? Like, because they want the questions now. Every single C I've ever worked with, I'm sure Ray's the same, right? Every C I've ever worked with wants to immediately tell them, you know, like, I don't really know how much the house is, or wants to have a price before they even call the person, wants to have a price in the house, right? You ever experienced that? Mm-hmm. Wanting to know what you're going to pay before you call the person? That's a C side of you coming in. That's the cautious side of you. You don't have to know. You just say, I'll check out, I'll respond back to you in a little bit, but here's the deal, I can't give you a full price until I actually see the property. But all I can really tell you is kind of a gut ballpark of what it's worth, but what I'll pay may be different. I may be able to pay more, or be willing to pay less. When can you meet tomorrow at 2? Can you meet Tuesday at 2? And you get the appointment. Book the appointment. If it's a D, they just want to, the only way I can do it, I got to evaluate the property. How fast can we get there? Do you want to do it tomorrow? Do you want to do it the next day? What's the schedule look like? Book it quick, because they're short attention span. By telling them that you want to buy houses and then hanging up, even if they hang up with you rudely, there's no words, hang up, you've set the seed in the D's mind. Call them back. Call them back until they make the decision to go. Because D's don't want to think about it. When they make the decision, they're going to go call somebody. They don't care if it's you, they don't care if it's somebody else. They're going to, whoever they have as a tool to call, they're just going to call, right? That's how D's operate. They can say no today, tomorrow something changes because you instill a thought in their mind. Now they're like, boom, I got to sell, boom, I got a tool, let's go, right? So make sure that you're instilling that quickly on the phone. Eyes, on the other hand, they're going to be a little more fun. Ask them where you're looking to go, because they'll get past the first section. You just buy a house? Okay, cool, nice. How long have you been doing that? They're going to be interested in talking about something fun of, I watched on HGTV, do you do the flips, do you this person, you that? They're more fun, engaging people. And I can tell you're an I, right? Because they're like, those people sound cool. I like them. That sounds like fun. So those guys, they're going to be a little bit more of it's a really easy process. It's fun. You want to go on vacations. You start selling the dream to them, right? You'll know who they are because they're still on the phone with you having fun. The S's are never going to hang up on you. S's don't hang up on people. They don't have it in them. It's too rude. It's not nice. It's not polite. If you are getting hung up on, it is not an S. It could be a C. It could be a D. But it's definitely not one of these guys. So if you've gotten past the fun part and you've gone to care and community, like if they've had fun with you, but they were kind of quiet on the phone, that's probably an S. If they've stayed this long, they're likely an S personality, right? And now it's time for you to hook them with, we really care about the community. You know, do you have family? They will talk about their family all day. If you talk about what kind of trip have you been on, that's the I, and they run off with it, you know they're an I, run that direction. If you say what kind of, you know, would you travel, what would you do in retirement? And they say, oh, I'll spend time with family, get out of this, and shift over to S. All right, start talking about who do you have for family, what do you guys do, what are you looking at, what would that look like? Understand they'll have a hard time moving because they gotta make sure their whole family is okay. The whole family buys into this conversation. The C, on the other hand, didn't want to be on the phone with you and hung up. No words were said, heard what you said, boom. It could either be a D or a C. It really could, and so the only way to find out is call back and offer information and offer a evaluation, right? Evaluation or information. Hey, did you know that this is happening in the city right now? That will hook any C all day. It doesn't matter. Did you know there's something big happening in the city right now? Oh shit, what? Right? Property values are changing. What are they? What do you mean? You've got the C hooked with information, right? If you call back and you say that and they hang up again, call back and say, I want to buy your house is the D, right? If they hang up for whatever reason, just assume they could be one of these. They could be anywhere on this side, but you got to go back and forth between these if they're just hanging up on you, right? The hang up is a sign that you haven't had the conversation with them the right way yet. But an S will never hang up on you. That makes sense? They don't have it in them. They're the nicest people on the planet. They don't even know you, and they're still like, I'm not going to hang up. They're a person on the other end of the line. They might be a telemarketer, but they're still a human being. They got a soul. They don't know you're probably one of these who doesn't have a soul, just keeps diving through. It's like, whatever, next. So, is this helping, guys?
Yeah.
You evaluate this?
Yep.
Understanding DISC is really, because right now we're not talking about tactical real estate investment strategy, right? We're talking about sales. This is how do you get into these appointments? How do you convert these appointments? And how do you get them to call you in the first place? Knowing who you're reaching, knowing your why, knowing your who, your what, your how, like knowing that these people think differently is key in marketing. It's clutch. Like if you don't market to the right people, they're not going to respond back. Right? If you marketed to me, and this is me operating as a high DI, a class that's going to be a ton of information on how to live a stable life and not have to do anything and be surrounded by family all the time, I would never buy that course. I would I wouldn't. It's just not in me. But if you said I'm going to be able to help a lot of people and change, be important, change something in your community, or have a ton of fun, or make a ton of money, I'm like, I'll like empty the bank on that. Right? I will empty the bank on making a ton of money or having a lot of fun, being involved with people in a meaningful way, moving the needle with people that I care about. Right? Like I love people, but we gotta be moving the needle. Like it's gotta be doing something. Whereas with Ron, if you said he'd be able to be with people and the task he would be doing is like just spend time with his family, like quality time with his daughters all day, like Ron would jump on that course all day. Right? Whereas for me, you couldn't sell that course to me. Right? And some of you sit on either side of that spectrum. Does that make sense? You know where you stand. Some of you are in between it, right, Mike? You're like, well, I want the fun, I want a family. It's that side of you and your wife together, right?
Right.
So there's different aspects, different people. You've got to meet them where they're at. Right? You've got to find out where they're at and attract them in. If you're pounding the door like this and you're talking to that, not going to happen. Right, if you're being all decisive and aggressive and demanding, and you're talking to a stable S, it's not gonna work. They're gonna run from you. They're gonna be scared. They're gonna see you with it. So these, from an S's point of view, is these are arrogant, they're coarse, they're rude, they're aggressive, they're intimidating. These have a bad reputation with the S, right? For another D, they're just like, oh, that person gets me, right? Like finally, somebody I can butt heads with, right? For an I, who is fun and outgoing and concerned with people and they want to be influential, a C looks at them as, well, that person's annoying. That person, well, that person over there is just, who do they think they are? You know? Like they don't even like think before they get dressed in the morning. Where are the pockets? You know, what if they need to do something, right? Yeah. So you go ahead.
So initially, when it's like a cold call or face to face,
yep.
What kind of actions or questions are you doing first to start this process?
So first one is I buy houses. Yeah, because that's gonna hit the D.
Yeah.
They'll either hang up, or you'll be able to keep going with the phone. We do it in a fun way that takes care of the community. Now you've hit the I and you hit the S, and then you ask, which is more important to you? Having fun with your life or being valuable in your community? Or being valuable to your family? And you let that kind of guide the conversation. And if they don't respond to either of those, you say, would you like to know more about what's going on in your community right now? As far as home prices value. And see if they're a C. Sometimes the D will have you on the phone just because they are ready to sell. Right, and so you ask, is it important? Like you'll know if it's a D because they're gonna ask you how much. First thing on that, how much, right? That's that conversation. You know, ask me, you want to buy something? Cool, how much? I want to sell this. How much? Right? I already know my number. Once I've decided I'm gonna sell it, I already know the number, right? So it's hard. You don't have to qualify the D. They stick out like a sore thumb. They're task oriented. The people, the extroverted, like they're the easiest to identify. I find the S to be on the opposite side the hardest to identify. A true S will sit in the room and pretend to be everybody else. And so, right? They're blending with everybody, like that's how an S operates. And so it's very hard to pick them out. The secret I've used is if I can't figure it out, I assume they're an S. If I'm like, oh, well, they're not strong in any direction. Aha! I got you. Makes it a lot easier. Identifying an S is to me still like a fuzzy area because they could be blends. It could be an SI, SC, right? And there are blends. In fact, a true individual letter is not typical. Typically, it's a blend somewhere. In fact, I am more of this direction, right? I have a strong C in me too, and Ron is this way. Right, so his I is about 50%. These two are just 99%, and mine are 80 all the way across. So it's an interesting blend the way he and I operate, but we're complete opposites. But we agree that sometimes details are important, and for sure people are important. But I'm like, we got to get it done, and he's like, let's make sure everybody on board is okay, right? But we drive towards getting it done, but it's two different energies, right? Every single one of you is a blend of something. Very, very rarely do I see, like, Mike is not a pure just I, right? Mike runs the IDS side of things.
Exactly.
Right?
Nice
Yeah. Got you, brother.
That was awesome.
I know Mike for a long time, so it gets easier as you go. So it's an element that you want to learn about yourself, to acknowledge that the people you're getting along with are probably just like you. And the people that you're having a harder time with are probably on the other side of the spectrum. If you're more extroverted, and they're more introverted, then extrovert would be up here, and introvert would be down here. So it's just, okay, understanding what's important to them is key to communicating with them. Right? People won't trust you. They won't do a transaction with you if they don't trust and like you. And most of the trust and like has nothing to do with your abilities. Trust and like is all disc. Trust and like is all personality. Right? So if you want to become better at converting, you've got to get better at first understand yourself, and then, because the reason I talk about this, and the biggest problem with teaching disc is as I'm teaching it, you're thinking about you. Right? You're thinking about you most of the time of where do I sit on this? All guilty?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's great. It's good to know where you are. But you've got to put it into, how do I read this person? What are they? Right? What are they? Like how, if I'm coming off, say I'm ready for a minute and I'm a CS, I'm coming off as a CS, but I'm in the room with an I or a D, am I doing what it takes to get that transaction? No. Right? No. Having the S side of you, for the S's in the room, you guys, we're the stable, care about people, like family is more important than anything else. Okay. No, don't fool me, bro. You're up here. Don't even fly. Yeah, maybe this way.
Yeah. That way.
It's a lot of investors run this side of the spectrum. A lot of investors are either C's and D's. C's believe they're right about everything and they want to do things a little outside the box, smarter than everybody else. D's want to make a lot of money and they're drawn to real estate for that. And C's are drawn to real estate for the same reason, but they want to make money, but for different reasons. Because they want to be smarter than everybody else, and these guys just want to have more money. Just two totally different, more power maybe. So understand a lot of real estate investors run either side of this, and then your blend is on this side. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. How we doing for time? All right, we gotta button this up. So you guys get value out of this, right?
Yes.
Okay, so valuable stuff. Understand when you get out into appointments, recognize where you're at on the spectrum. Feel the energy. If you notice that you're either slower or faster, adjust. Adjust accordingly. You're not being fake. This is one of the biggest problems C's and S's have with this whole process. Is if, oh, well, I'm not being authentic, I'm not being my real self, right? No, you are. It's like speaking Portuguese to somebody who speaks Portuguese, right? It's speak their language. If I'm in a house with someone who speaks Portuguese, I don't speak Portuguese very well, right? Like, it's not a gift. But I know a few key phrases, so I can at least let them know I respect them, right? So you want to show that if you're a C or an S and you're with a D or an I, you have to speed up. I'll say it is more work. I will say because of this introverted nature, being in a sales position, it is work. You have to step up a little bit, and that's okay. It's part of being successful, right? It's part of providing more value to the community. It's part of figuring out the system. I was a very strong C growing up. I only developed these in my later years because knowledge told me I had to do that, right? In order to be the best, I had to do that. So I've improved those. Now they're bigger than the C,
Yeah.
right? So you can change, trust me. If you're a D or an I, it's a little easier. You just gotta slow down a little bit, right? For a D and I, it's like we call it holding your breath, right? You hold your breath. When I spoke to Ray and I calmed down a little bit and we did this thing, I was just going a little slower, just like hitting life where it really is, right? Right, Cherise? She's like, yeah. Thank you for participating with me, guys. So that is easier, I will say, for the D's and the I's. The problem is D's and I's don't tend to pay attention to other people so much. So sometimes they know later on that they messed up because they didn't slow down, but slowing down in the moment, they went too fast past the person just to tread right over them. So there's two issues with either being extrovert or introvert, right? If you're introverted, you gotta step up for the extroverts. If you're extroverted, you gotta step down for the introverts. Just take it down a little bit. That said, Get the Deal is coming up. It is January 24th, 25th. It is going to be super detailed. Second day will be more on disc. First day is going to be the details of how to get your marketing going. Marketing is more important than direct calling because direct hunting is work, whereas marketing is passive. So you can market to people who will go out and work directly, like Josh, right? So it makes sense to build a strategy around wholesalers and other people who are doing what you're doing and just get a piece of what they're doing, right? Because now you can really scale out and build a bigger system. By being the person who builds the system and trains them, works way faster. So we're going to teach you how to do all of that at Get the Deal. Get the Money is this Thursday coming up at Dedham in Boston Dedham Hilton Real Estate Investors Association. One of those words is all it all makes sense. Boston Real Estate Association at the Hilton in Dedham. It'll be at 6 o'clock. We start. I'll be training it, and it will be a huge opportunity. I'm also going to sell something. I'll be straight honest with you guys. I'm selling a package of a lot of training programs at a discount, and I'm selling a very unique one with my mentor involved, who doesn't do trainings for anybody ever. I had to actually wrestle this out with him. It's taken me about 2 years to get him to agree, but he owns an $18 million portfolio here in the city, and he's willing to teach and coach for there's a fee involved, but I've broken it down so it's more bite-sized for everybody. By getting a bunch of people in, he's agreed to this. So I'll be selling it. I'll be selling that next Thursday. So it's an exclusive opportunity. Only people who show up get that because he doesn't want a huge group. And I'm gonna package everything else that we sell all together in one pretty cheap price. So that will be next week. Until then, Saturday is going to be our consistent schedule. Every Saturday, 10 a.m., the mastermind. Be here, ask your questions. If you're here on time, there's a good chance you can sit at the table. If you're a member like Mike, Ray, well, sometimes, right? If you've been here long enough, yeah, we'll bring you up.
If you're on time.
But be on time. Be on time is the key. The members always get a spot at the table, unless they show up 20 minutes late, in which case I've already set the table up. But the members always get a spot. Try to be here early. You could also get a spot at the table. Does that make sense? It's a valuable situation. Everybody who sat at the table got value today?
Yes.
Nice. I like to see that. Anybody who didn't sit at the table still got value today?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you guys for contributing. Guys, we have a choice. Always invest for the best. See you online. Cheers.